This is going to be an important video, so if you are a Bitcoin holder or a crypto holder, you definitely want to watch this video because I believe we are at a crossroad and one of two things is going to happen. So in this video, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. It's Sunday and I'm walking again and it's beautiful out. So beautiful, blessed with sunshine, with cool 60-degree weather. It's just nice. It's really nice. You guys saw in this forest preserve a couple of deer eating leftover pumpkin. There were actually a lot more pumpkins and apples. There were a ton of apples. They're all gone now. It's been a couple of weeks, but it's beautiful once again. So today I want to talk about what I believe is going to happen soon, this crossroad. So right now I know a lot of you guys have noticed that alts are going up in a big way, right? This past few weeks, we've seen alts go up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. Some alts are now going up 20 or 30% in a single day. This past week Solana has been very strong, but the last few days Avalanche has been very strong. People also have asked me about like crypto.com, CRO, and there's various other L1s that started moving in a big way, very big way. So what does this all mean? Well, I've been in a space long enough to know that one of two things is about to happen. Either A, we are at a local top for Bitcoin, and that's why the alts are pumping, or B, Bitcoin is about to pump in a big way. One of these two are about to happen. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that option A is bad, but I have seen this before. I've seen it plenty of times before. I've been in a space for a long time, since 2014, but throughout some of these bull runs, not even bull runs, I would say recoveries from bottom and bull runs, we have seen periods where Bitcoin tops out and then the money flows into alts, and then what happens? Bitcoin dips down, drops down. Seen that many times. So I think the clearest example of this was back in 2019 when Bitcoin was coming up from the bottom. It was 3,100 at the time, and then Bitcoin shot up to 14,000, and everyone thought we were just going to pump to 20,000 like in no time. But no, after hitting 14,000 we started retracing. Bitcoin started coming down to 12, 10, and it kind of held at 10 for a while until 2020 happened and COVID pushed Bitcoin down again. But had COVID not happened, Bitcoin probably would have held around 10,000 before it started going up in 2021. So I've seen that. That's a clear example. When Bitcoin was doing that and topped out around 14,000, alts were pumping up to the moon once again around that time. But even outside of that, if you look at some periods and later on in 2020, 2021, we have seen that too, where Bitcoin kind of pumps up and then kind of holds for a little bit, alts start jumping up in a big way, and then Bitcoin dips down. So that's kind of option A. So if that's about to happen, that means our 37,000 right now probably won't hold for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin probably go back down. It could go back down to $30,000, maybe 32. You know, some of the previous support levels that we shattered through very quickly in October and November, right? That could happen. And if it does that mean it's over? No, it's actually quite healthy. These are like the kind of dips that a lot of TA guys and Chartist guys look at. That's why a lot of them will say, well, yeah, Bitcoin is poised to dip here first and then we go up, right? A lot of them have these conditions they throw out, like, yeah, Bitcoin must do this before it does that. Sometimes they come true and they look like geniuses, and other times it doesn't, and then people just forget, right? That's how it is with TA. It's like you're making an educated guess, but doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen. So option A is exactly that. The Bitcoin has found a local top. Now a lot of the money is coming into the alts, and you may be wondering, why are the alts pumping so hard though? Because if Bitcoin is holding, then where's the money coming from, right? It's not like people are selling Bitcoin to buy alts right now. Here's the thing. There are a lot of whales, really rich whales in the space. I believe they're the ones doing this. The market makers and the whales, they know that Bitcoin's about to come down. So what they do is they start using their money to pump alts. This is kind of like their last hurrah before they pull out. So they may be the ones that's causing a lot of these random pumps that you can't really explain. A lot of these coins, a lot of these alts go up 100% in a week, and there's really no explanation for it. So that could be the reason that I'll walk by. That could be the reason why we're seeing alts go up right now. Because I've seen this again. Like I said, I've seen this before. What these market makers or whales would do is pump up the alts, get everyone excited, get retail investors excited, and then they dump it. They dump it all. And then you see like a crash with alts, and then you see Bitcoin come down. So if this is option A, if this is the case, prepare for that. Because right now, a lot of people are making a lot of money. A lot of people looking at their portfolio, you can see that alts have come up quite a lot. Bitcoin obviously is holding at 37. A lot of people are in the green right now. My Wednesday DCR portfolio is about to turn green. My own personal portfolio is pumping, right? So it does kind of feel like it could be option A. The good thing is, if you're a long-term DCA holder, or you're a long-term holder, but you're DCAing, it doesn't really matter. Because that means you just get another opportunity to DCA, to buy the dip. And you would actually enjoy that. So if you're a long-term holder and you've been DCAing for a while, or picking and choosing when to buy, if that comes, it's going to be a great opportunity to be loading up again. However, if you are not a long-term holder, you are a short-term degen, and you may be playing with a lot of leverage right now, 10x, 15, 20, whatever. If you are a degen trader and you're making money left and right now, lock in some gains, man. Lock in some gains, because if the market comes down in a big way, you will get wrecked and you will lose it all. That's the thing with leverage. Leverage makes you feel like you're the smartest person on earth, that you can make money like no other, and the gains come in like forever, right? I know. I degen and leverage trade all the time, but it only really works when the market is going up, and it's kind of like a sure thing. That's why everyone feels like they're a genius. When the market suddenly turns downwards, if you don't have that stop losses set, or you're just trying to outsmart the market, you will get wrecked. And it happens every single time. Every single cycle, every single pump, every single dip. That's why you see so many shorts and longs get liquidated, because everyone thinks they're a genius until things don't go their way, right? So yeah, so if you're a long-term holder, you're DCAing, it really doesn't matter. Actually, you probably welcome a local top and a dip, because you could buy a little more and stack sats or stack whatever alts that you like. Great. But if you are a short-term degen playing with a lot of leverage, make sure, I'm warning you guys, make sure to lock in some gains just in case. Otherwise, you're gonna be left with nothing. You'll start at lower than what you started with. Okay. Now, that's option A. Option B is Bitcoin is about to pump in a big way. Now, I've been talking about a lot of catalysts, okay? Like, obviously, Bitcoin spot ETFs. if we get approval this next week, Bitcoin will go up probably 10,000 points within a single week. That's going to happen. If we have some major news, doesn't matter what the lines show, doesn't matter what the market makers are preparing for, Bitcoin is going to pump in a big way. So we do have catalysts, and I've been talking about a catalyst for a while now. Spot Bitcoin ETF is probably the biggest catalyst that we have. But of course, we have the Santa rally that's coming up in December. We have the halving event, which is about 4 months away. So we have major things to look forward to. And because of these things, it makes me feel like option A probably isn't likely. There's a chance, but I feel like at this point, we won't see any significant dip because people know what's coming. Spot Bitcoin ETFs, like I said, I don't think any of the whales, the institutions, the market makers, the retail investors, I don't think anyone wants to miss out on that pump. Everyone is looking forward to it. And we all know it's around the corner. It's either this month or we have to wait a couple months to January, right? So maybe if it doesn't get approved this month, maybe that sets off Catalyst A until January, but honestly, that's not too far off. And because of the halving event, and everyone knows what happens to Bitcoin's price. Bitcoin's price trends upwards, hits the halving event, and usually just goes parabolic afterwards. So we're so close to the halving event and spot Bitcoin ETF approval. And let's not forget, there's other things to look forward to, like the SEC lawsuit against Ripple being dropped, against Coinbase being dropped, and a few other things. You know, who knows Elon, what his plans are. Maybe he opens up his crypto payment network on X. You know, there's a variety of things that could happen that can be catalyst to drive things up. And on top of all those things, there are times that I've witnessed before when Bitcoin consolidates, alts go up. What happens afterwards? Bitcoin pumps. So the very reason I shared with you guys for option A, the market makers and the whales, right? A lot of times they pump alts and then they exit. They sell off everything and they exit out. But there are, in some instances, they do that because they need more money. So they actually pump up alts, sell out, and then they put that money into Bitcoin. And then you see Bitcoin pump up in a big way. So the next level up, in my opinion, would be about 39,000. And some people say it's 42,000. So we could be right there. So that's option B, that we're not going to dip. We're actually going to get a big pump, regardless of the spot Bitcoin ETF and all these other catalysts, that we're just getting ready. So that's option B. So that's why right now we're at a crossroad, because they're very opposites, right? One is indicating, based on history, based on my experience, I've seen this. One indicates that Bitcoin is about to pump in a big way. Alts may falter, but Bitcoin's go pump up. Another option is, yeah, they both go down and Bitcoin might dip and alts might dip. But which one do I think is more likely? If I was giving odds, I would say it's more like, I would say it's more like 70-30. If I was being realistic, 70% with option B, that the market makers, the whales, what they're doing is trying to make as much as they can from alts, and they're going to shift that money back into Bitcoin, waiting for the right moment to enter back into Bitcoin and then pump it up to the next level, which could be 39,000. And that could be coming this week. I mean, 39,000, quite honestly, it's less than 10%, another 8% from here. So I think it's 70% option B, and then 30% chance option A, that this may be a local top and maybe we don't see anything until January. So we may get that dip down. Could be dipping down to back to 30, high 30s, low 30s, which isn't that big of a dip. Do I think it's going to fall below 30? No, I do not. I think 30 is probably the minimum or the maximum we will fall. Could we fall back down to 26? I just don't see that. It would have to be something catastrophic for that to happen. I just don't see that. But I do think that there could be a chance that we do fall. And maybe we fall 10%. If we fall down 20%, which is be a big correction, that's only placing us around 30,000, right? So I would say there's probably a 30% chance of this. I don't know. Is this based on anything scientific? Do I have any charts or graphs to show you guys? No. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. And it just so happens I was talking to Jamie Thompson, CEO of Vulcan. Today we were chatting. And he also said this to me. I'm like, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a long time too. I'm glad I'm not the only one that recognizes this. Because yeah, it's either option A or option B, right? So that's why I just want to share with you guys, right? Really, nothing changes. If you're a long-term holder and you're DCAing either option A or B, you're going to benefit from. Okay, so I think the only people that has to be really worried are the people that are degens right now, highly leveraging or highly trading, and may have invested more than what they can afford to lose because they think the gravy train only goes one way, and that's upwards. But in between, just so you guys know, it's kind of rocky, and we could be going downwards before we go upwards again. Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there and warning you guys. But yeah, so that's kind of what I want to talk about. I don't know, outside of what may happen short term, long term, I really feel like those of you guys that have been DCAing for the last few years, you will get rewarded handsomely. I really feel that. A lot of you guys have been watching me for a long time, and you know that I've been sharing my bullishness, my hopium, right? And now people are starting to see it. When Bitcoin was falling down, all the way down to 16,000, people didn't want to believe it. You know, they're like, George, you're just catching a falling knife. It's stupid. Well, now people are starting to believe because a lot of people listened, DCA'd, and now they're back in the green. Not only that, they're in a really good position. They set themselves up in a really good position to benefit in the next year and a half, going all the way to the end of 2025. Honestly, I think 10x from here is really a minimum. I think people's portfolios, even just going with Bitcoin and some of the big caps, without really trying to dig into the smaller caps or trying to outsmart the market or out trade the market, just with holding on to basics and DCAing, 10x. 10x is a lot, my friends. If you think about it, 50K becomes 500K. 10K becomes 100K. 5K becomes 50K. Okay? And that's a lot. I remember the days when I had a ton of credit card debt and I was not making a lot. And I would watch these guys on Shark Tank talk about how they invested $50,000, $100,000 of their money into their projects. And I would say to my wife at the time, like, how do these people have so much to put in their business? 50, 100,000, sometimes you hear about them saying 200,000. So I know how hard it is to save up that much, because when you don't have money and you're struggling with bills, it's really, really difficult to get up there. Most Americans do not have even $50,000 in their savings. That's a lot of money. right? So that's why I truly believe this 10x factor, which is a bare minimum, really a conservative number, is going to be so beneficial for so many. $5,000 in crypto can turn into $50,000 by the end of 2025. 10,000 turns into 100,000. I mean, this is a multiplier, right? That's what crypto does. That's why I'm so bullish on it, and I don't think anything's gonna slow crypto down in any way. So that's all I want to share. Oh, and the last point I want to share is those of you guys that have kids. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not giving you financial advice. However, this is what I'm doing with my kids because I kind of thought about this, and it makes a lot of sense. I have 2 young kids, not teenagers yet, but I start telling them about the future, and they're starting to think about what they want to do when they grow up, and school and all that stuff, right? And I'm explaining Bitcoin to them and explaining how it just keeps on going upwards. The longer you hold it and the more you put into it, the more you make in the long run. And they're starting to get it, right? And they're asking me to put more money into it now. So I really think those people that have young kids, if you get them hooked early, or you're just doing it for them, they might not understand. But you kind of explain to them, you do it for them until they're of age, and then they start doing it themselves. Man, they will all become filthy rich by the time they hit their 20s. Maybe even by the time they hit 18. If you think about it, Bitcoin only came out in 2009. Really, no one started DCAing or buying into it until at least 2010, 2011. So let's just say 2011. You could have gotten Bitcoin for $10 in 2011. Maybe even $1. So 2011 till now, that's what? That's only 12 years, right? 12 years, 3 cycles. So most people have not been DCAing that long, have not been buying that long. But imagine another 12 years from now. Now we're 3 cycles more in. Bitcoin's inflation is going to be cut down to less than 1 in 3 cycles. And that's only 12 years. Now, imagine your kids DCAing for 22 years or 24 years, right? So by the time they're in their early 20s, or let's say late 20s, or even 30s, I mean, my God, that's how many cycles? That's 6 halving cycles. And I can't even fathom what Bitcoin's price will be 22 years from now. I mean, just take a second to think about it. Every single cycle, Bitcoin goes up and forms a new high, a new low. And in the last 12 years, it went from a sub $1 to this cycle that may be ending at 200,000. So then from 200,000, and you multiply whatever ratio for 22 years. Let's forget 22 years. Let's just do 12 years. Another 3 cycles. I can't even fathom where Bitcoin will be. I can't even pretend to guess. Kathy Wood is already saying 1.5 million by 2030. That's only 1 cycle after this one. That's only 4 more years after this one. But then you apply another 4 years and another 4 years. What was Bitcoin going to be? 5 million? 10 million by then? That's only 12 years. What about another 24 years? Will Bitcoin be above 10 million each by then? 50 million? I can't even compute that. I can't. So that's why I think it's so important if you want to set your kids up to be filthy rich for generational wealth, not just financial freedom, but if you want to set them up for generational wealth, you get them in early, and then you focus on that and get them to understand what Bitcoin's about. But man, if you start helping them or DCAing them early, you're setting them up for life, for their kids' life, for their grandkids' life, if they choose to have kids. But that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm not, man, there's a lot of deer everywhere. I'm not saying this is financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, but just take a second to think about that. Man, Bitcoin and crypto, so powerful. So powerful. All right, that's it for this video. Went a little bit longer than I wanted. So prepare for option A or B. And prepare your kids. All right, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early, and we'll see how this week goes and where Bitcoin will be. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.